people have died in Iraq, and there are some ideas that more people will die in case of a war with Iran. And what do you think of the idea that confrontation leads to more violence against the forces of the United States and against us, as yesterday's morning presentation also showed that the suicide bombings have increased in Iraq during the course of occupation, and also that somewhat relates to back here at home as well, that the idea that the cartoon in Washington Post might have ignited more confrontation and violence with Islamic fascists, as you call it.
Yes. Well, I remember we discussed some of this about your country the other night, and I'm grateful for the question. Yeah, there is. I think it's very, very important to get this clear. It is, of course, true that the existence of secular, sexually emancipated, scientifically oriented civilization is the root cause of terrorism. I think it's true. Because they would have nothing to attack and nothing to envy and nothing to blame their own failures on, were it not for this state of affairs. But that's as much as I'm willing to say. I'm not willing to make any concession based on that. I'm not willing to adjust my own behavior by 1 degree for 1 minute to please some verminous mullah or any of his fans. And I think that should be clearly understood. I could not forgive myself if I worked out ways in which to coexist with people with whom coexistence is first impossible, second undesirable. Yes, of course, if we were not trying to build up a federal democratic government in Iraq, the first ever such attempt made, and if we were not trying to get an oil plan that finally shared the oil instead of making it the private property of a sadistic crime family, of course we wouldn't be being attacked by the supporters of Al-Qaeda in Mesopotamia. It's a matter of pride that they want to attack us. And that's why there are so many casualties in Iraq, because they don't care where they put their bombs, and they don't care who they kill. In fact, they take a particular relish in killing people who are from the wrong sort of Islam. It's a holy duty to put down the heretical Shia and to blow their children's limbs across the schoolyard, and it's a relish that's experienced every day, and there aren't enough soldiers in the world to stop the number of people who want to do this. But we're not going to give up on it, and we can't conceivably surrender on the point. And if the body count is to be used as an indicator at all, then it must be used in a serious and scrupulous manner. Millions of people died in Afghanistan because we didn't intervene there, because we left the country, because we abandoned it after the war against the Soviet Union was over. Millions of people died in Iraq because we left Saddam Hussein in power in 1991. Who knows how many millions of lives in Iran have been made miserable. We certainly know how many people were killed in the war with Iraq because the theocracy was left undisturbed there. Are we proud of the way that we neglected and abandoned Somalia to its fate in the way that we did? No, and all of this neglect and indifference and neutrality is what's led to the rise of the terrorist organizations. And you only have to look at what bin Laden says himself. He said defeating the Soviet Union was really hard. He says it at the wedding of one of his ghastly kids to one of Ayman Zawahiri's filthy brood. It's a very important tape to listen to. He said, many of us here lost many good friends in the great struggle to liberate Afghanistan from the Soviets. That was really hard fighting. That was a real jihad. That was really a bitter war. He said, but bringing down the next empire, the American one, that'll be relatively easy. They're feminized. They're queer. They're run by Jews and usurers. They don't want to fight. They don't believe in their own principles. They don't think anything's worth fighting for. They can't take casualties. Bring it on. We'll take them down easily. That'll be simple. It is to me fantastically important, really of the first and highest importance, that statement and the assumptions underlying it be comprehensively disproved. Comprehensively disproved. And their authors, those who make excuses for them, comprehensively destroyed. That's going to be the big fight between secularism and civilization and its enemies from now on. You better get ready for it. Thank you.
Thank you.